Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Why in Your Life. We're sitting here with the cast of the new Cirque du Soleil show called Quidam, which is coming to Honolulu on October 4th. And, well, I mean, they're already here, but... so, you are...
My name is Jean-Philippe V.
And
most people call me JP, it's easier.
Oh, okay. I used to have a friend named Jean-Francois, I used to call him Jeff.
Ah, well then. You can call me G, no.
Deal.
No, JP is going to be better.
And what do you do with the show?
I have 3 roles. I'm the Boom Boom character,
okay.
One of the main character, bald guy with the boxing gloves.
Uh-huh.
I'm also part of the group act, which is the rope skipping act, skipping rope act, which you've tried.
Yes.
And I'm also part of the Spanish web act, which is basically a 5-people group act, 5 vertical ropes, and we do aerial acrobatics and the ropes.
Wow. Very cool. And you are?
I'm Jessica Leboeuf. I'm the spokesperson for the show. So I get to travel the world and talk about the show and enjoy the company of these guys everywhere we go.
Yeah. And you are?
I'm May Bouchard, and I play the rabbit character with big bunny ears. I'm part of the house troupe skipping act, and I'm also part of Cordeli's Lip.
Okay. And you are?
I'm the Norisa Taguchi, and my specialty is the skipping rope, jump rope. And, so lead of the them, solist, solo, and also the group lead of the group.
Cool. Okay, so I guess everybody wants to know what is this particular show about? I know every show has a theme. What is Quidam about? What does Quidam mean?
Quidam is a Latin-inspired word, and it means nameless passerby. So we're referring to the stranger in the crowd and the everyday man, the people we cross in the street and we don't pay attention to. So in Quidam, basically we try to remind the public to pay attention to your neighbor or to the person that maybe you would pass on the street without saying anything. As an example, there's going to be 100 of us from Quidam in the streets of Honolulu for 2 weeks, and you might just pass us in the street not knowing who we are, but if you take 5 minutes to talk to us or to put us on stage, well, we'll show you something amazing and we'll bring happiness into your life. So it's a little bit about that, and the storyline revolves around a little girl, and she kind of goes into her imaginary world, and she meets all these eccentric characters that are in normal mode with me today, but when they're on stage, you won't recognize them.
Oh, so you guys are normal in real life? Or?
Right now, they're normal.
As normal as we
What you missed before off camera was everybody was feeling JP's shirt, and everyone wanted to pull it, and he's like...
And I'm provoking them to do it, so that's why I'm saying that.
But you touched it.
Yes, I did. I'm still touching it. So, how do you prepare to join this show? I'm like, did you have a lifelong dream to join a Cirque du Soleil show, or did you go to a special school to learn the skills to?
I guess we all come from very different backgrounds, which is what makes also this show so interesting. You don't have like one mold that everyone has to fit in. You know, for my part, I have, you could say, an unusual background. I did 15 years of martial arts, which is not artistic in a way, you know. I mean, you see the athleticism, but it's nothing like a Cirque du Soleil show. But when I was 20 years old, really out of interest, I just decided to join circus school 1 night a week. It was Introduction to Aerial Acts for adults. I did that, my coach saw me, and she said, you know, you've got some interesting potential. You might want to join our professional program. It fit my university schedule, why not? And you know what, 3 years of circus school, 2 years of performing and freelancing. Talent Scout saw me perform, they invited me to audition, and here I am. It was never really a plan, but the second you start doing performing acts in circus, you want to end up with Cirque du Soleil.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's like, that's kind of like, okay, that's the pinnacle of...
It is. Anyone that does circus performing knows about Cirque du Soleil, and it's a huge company. It's one of the biggest live entertainment companies in the world. We have 22 shows around the world right now.
Wow. I knew there was a lot, but I didn't know there was that many.
One of those shows is actually in a resident show in Orlando, Florida, and that's what kind of brought me to Cirque du Soleil. She saw the show, and then
I actually auditioned in Orlando at the Cirque du Soleil stage there, which is Cuba. My background is in dance, and then I started doing ceiling a few nights a week, and I really enjoyed it.
Really?
I said, maybe I can do this professionally. And so I sent my material in, and I got asked to the audition, and then they called me for the contract.
Wow. Very cool. And you've been with the show for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And the two of you have been with the show? Like,
I've been with the show for 2 years.
2 years?
For 1 year.
1 year. So you're like the old man of the group?
Not the most, yeah, one of them.
Is there a point in performing with Cirque du Soleil where you just can't anymore, or do people just strive to do something else?
There's a lot of opportunities within the company. A lot of people do cross training, or also they learn a role. As an example, for our two companions here, JP and me, they started being Spanish web and skipping. And then at one point they realized that the character work would work with me, would work with their personalities and what they like to do. So they both trained for that, and then they were chosen to be some characters. So sometimes acrobats can also go to character work, and then they can have a longer lifespan to their career on stage. And then after the stage life, then there's a whole other world. We have some acrobats that became coaches, that became they did university while they were performing, and now they're the accountant on tour and things like that. So it really depends what you want to do. And Cirque du Soleil has a program that's called Crossroad, merci. And they really help. They really help the performers in their after performing life.
Wow. You know what? I think as a performer, we really never think of it as an after performing life, because the first thing to start with, to become a performer, you have to be what I like to call a free mind. I mean, there's no boundaries. You just do what you like, and you find a way to make that a living. I mean, one day someone looked at a gym class and said, "Hey, climbing a rope, you know that thing nobody likes to do? I'm going to make an act out of that, and that's going to be my living for later on." So I mean, if you start from that first idea, whenever we perform, whatever we do, we find interest in what we do. And so some people, again, like there's rope people that, like Jess was saying, that became riggers. And they're like, "Oh, you know, every week we have to hang that rope off a structure. Wow, that's very complicated. There's a lot of technical parts. I'd like to study that." And one of our companions in rope recently transferred to the rigging department after years of training and learning. But you need the will to do it. She, on top of the rope act and all the work that she was doing with us, she underwent other training to get that knowledge and went further on. So I don't think it's really about saying, "Oh, I need to stop." It's more about, "Ooh, that thing passions me too. I want to try it."
It's like, that's cool.
Exactly.
It's a really good environment too, because you have people from all different backgrounds, all over the world. So you have so many different opportunities you can take advantage of, and everyone's kind of like a family. So they can support each other and teach you things. And like, "Oh, maybe I like that. Oh, maybe I should learn this language." Like, it's very exciting.
That's true. I was going to ask too, like how you guys communicate from all these different countries. But
Well, we use business as a language. We use English as a business language. But as you can see, we all talk a lot with our hands, and we look at each other a lot, so that we know that we're understanding each other and communicating. And it was, I think, very funny for Nori teaching the new cast of Russian, Ukrainian guys from those Eastern Europe countries, not very comfortable with English, and then Nori teaching them and trying to get the good stuff out of them.
They're very interesting. Most of the body language, and a little bit understand English, and also my language. Learn the English, and then communicate connect together, and then show it more the skipping trick like this, and then a little bit learn the Russian, and one more time like Yasholas, and talking that they understand, and then more too happy to use their language, and then more join to the fun to do the skipping. So.
It's funny that you say one more time. It's also, since we all come from different cultures, there's things that you can't do with certain cultures. As an example, with the Russian and Ukrainian group, you can never say, "Oh, we'll do this one last time." For them, it's
one last time.
It's fatalistic. So you can never say this is going to be the last one. If you want to finish what you're doing, you say, "Okay, one more time," and they understand that. They do it one more time, and then we're done with it. Because if you say one last time, for them, they don't want to do it because they don't want this to be the last time they do
Ever.
it. Yeah. So it's things like that. You kind of have to. We learned it by saying it wrong.
Exactly. And you know what? You look at the cast, and we're 52 artists, and among us, we come from 18 different countries. So for most of us, English isn't actually our first language. I grew up speaking French. But so most of us speak 2 languages, and by doing that, you quickly learn those key sentences that everyone learns quickly.
Right.
One more time, and those easy words like please, again, can you help me? Can you give me this? And just can you turn the ropes? Yeah, that they understand. So it's not so much about speaking one more language. It's more about speaking. It's like human language. It's being able to make yourself understandable in as many languages as possible, and that itself is really fun.
That's very cool. Okay, our cameraman is signaling to us, so we are out of time. But if you want to see the show and see them speak their international language performance, make sure you check the link on the Nonstop Honolulu blog. Buy some tickets. Their show starts on October 4th and it runs through
October 14th.
14th. And they're at the Blaisdell. So, see you then.